AEW may have just put on the best televised wrestling show of the year as AEW Grand Slam took over Arena Mexico in Mexico City and delivered in a monumental way, from epic matches, a historic presence, several integrated acts from Mexico, and one of the most legendary promos in AEW history. Grand Slam had it all, and I really do believe that AEW Grand Slam was a bit of a changing of the guard for AEW in more ways than one. And I'm going to talk about why I think that is and why this show was so important, not just to me, but I think to all wrestling fans. All that and much more coming up right here in this video. So be sure to smash that thumbs up, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever a new video is released. All right, let's dive in. Like I said before, AEW took over the historic Arena Mexico venue, a venue that has hosted CMLL for decades, one of the cathedrals of professional wrestling, along with Madison Square Garden, Wembley Stadium, and every other historic arena you can think of. This is a place that represents the best of Lucha. This is a place where some of the most battle-hardened luchadors of all time have actually wrestled, and this is a place that no other United States wrestling company has ever ran. WWE has hosted shows in Mexico City, but they have never been in Arena Mexico. It is a venue that has a storied history in itself and is one that for a while was pretty much blocked off only for CMLL, but AEW's partnership with the company has changed all of that. And that is why we saw one of, I think, the most historic shows of the year this past Wednesday in AEW Grand Slam Mexico. You had Hangman Adam Page come out to open a show, cutting an entire promo in Spanish and dispelling the notion really that you need to cut promos in English all the time. Yes, AEW Dynamite, Monday Night Raw, all these US wrestling shows that we love to watch every week are going to be predominantly in English. That is going to happen. However, I think that it shouldn't be afraid, and these companies should not be afraid of deviating, opening up to newer audiences. Cutting promos in Japanese is something that WWE has also done recently, and it has helped elevate some of their top Joshi stars like Io Sky. And I think in the same way, WWE, AEW need to open themselves up to doing this in Spanish as well. There is nothing wrong with doing things that are going to appeal to a certain audience. There's nothing wrong with doing things that leave your current audience wondering what was said and maybe looking it up. I think one thing that fans don't do enough of is a little bit of the curiosity factor. They don't look into things as much as they used to. We just kind of watch and then say, I already made up my mind. But I think Hangman's promo, it meant so much, and also the message of unity given the times that we are in, I think was one that was much needed. You also had some insane tag team action with a 14-man Lucha tag team match, also a 10-man tag team main event that eventually set up Hangman Adam Page, Jon Moxley for July 12th at AEW All In. So you had this show featuring all of your prominent stars. You also had a lot of CMLL and Mexican stars on this show, with Mystico absolutely taking the center stage in his matchup against MJF, coming out with one of the greatest entrances of the year, with the entire crowd singing his song and absolutely blowing the roof off of Arena Mexico. You then counter that with MJF, who came out as the asshole American and waving that flag everywhere, only to get his comeuppance in the match, but later, after the match, take off Mystico's mask in one of the most insane things. If you know anything about Lucha, if you know anything about Mexican wrestling, the mask is one of the most sacred aspects of a luchador's character. It is one of the most sacred aspects of their entire careers. Some people go their entire career, spanning almost half a century, never unmasking. So for this to happen on Arena Mexico, on AEW TV, it is a major deal, and I think it's going to set things up for what will happen after, whether it's a match between MJF and Mystico later down the line, or perhaps a hair versus mask match, which would be insane. Imagine a bald MJF, guys. Wild stuff. You combine that with the fact that MJF actually had a fan try to come at him at the hotel, bringing back the days of fans thinking wrestling is real and wanting to fight the wrestlers. Reports are that Max is cool with it, so I guess we're cool with it too, but don't attack wrestlers, really. It's not good. But what a heel MJF is. But my entire point of this is this was a fantastic show. From all of this action that I mentioned to Mercedes Mone winning the CMLL Women's World Title, there was something for everyone on this show. And it signified, I think, the best of professional wrestling. A historic crowd, a historic venue, a historic lineup of stars, both Mexican and American. And on top of that, building up to one of AEW's biggest shows of the year. And I'm not even just talking about All In, I'm talking about Forbidden Door. For the longest time, one of the biggest gripes about Forbidden Door was fans are not as familiar with these foreign stars that are coming in. And for the longest time, that criticism was levied at the New Japan Pro Wrestling stars. However, recently, we have kind of become accustomed to seeing all of the big New Japan stars on a more consistent basis. And on top of that, a lot of the stars from New Japan Pro Wrestling a couple of years ago have made the shift to either AEW or WWE. So there really isn't that level of talent left in New Japan that a Forbidden Door means more. But there is in Mexico. And right now, we are in the midst of a bit of a war for Mexico in AEW and WWE with their partnerships and acquisition of AAA for WWE. But these partnerships with CMLL and AAA are signifying that they are fighting for this territory in a way. And while I do think there are justifiable criticisms of the way some of the companies have gone about this, I think the one thing we can all agree on is this is going to give exposure to Mexican luchadors more so than we've ever seen. I think we are about to see Lucha become more prominent than it has ever been in US wrestling. We are going to see stars like Mystico. We are going to see stars like Hechincero. We are going to see stars come out of the woodwork and new stars develop. And I think for AEW, it's going to fix one of their biggest problems for Forbidden Door, that feeling that this actually feels like a super card. Like I mentioned before, a lot of the top stars in New Japan Pro Wrestling have come over to AEW in some way. So one of the ways you can fix that is by doing this partnership with CMLL and bringing some of their stars in. And if you look at the reception that some of these guys got, I think this opens the door for you not only to continue this partnership and expand it, but also host more shows in Mexico if you're AEW. And the global war for wrestling is one that kind of has been talked about. Mercedes talks about the global revolution of women's wrestling. And I think part of that is going to be to go to these places that aren't used to getting shows. That is why this show in Arena Mexico is so historic. Think about it. No other US company has ever gone to Arena Mexico. That is crazy. And the fact that AEW was able to do it shows you that they are willing to break those barriers and they are willing to make relationships in a way that builds trust with the local promoters and with the local fans. So if this show is evident of what AEW plans to do moving forward, I think it's only going to grow from here, and it's a really good sign for the future of the company and for us fans as well. But guys, I want to hear from you in the comment section below. What did you guys think about AEW Grand Slam Mexico? Did you like it? Did you hate it? What was your favorite match? Let me know in the comment section below. Also, be sure to smash that thumbs up, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever a new video is released.